He was passed over 3 times, not because he missed deadlines, not because he wasn't qualified, he definitely was, not because he didn't work hard, he was definitely a hardworking man. Every performance review said almost the same thing all the time: excellent work, reliable, and even technically outstanding. Then one sentence: you should work on your presence in meetings. This is Between Passports, and this story was sent by Daniel from Kenya. When Daniel moved to Canada, he believed good work would speak for itself, and that's usually a very common reasoning all around the world, right? If you work hard, results would come. And that's how he would always approach life. He would arrive early, he would prepare well, do your job, respect people, and again, results would always follow. And for a while, they did. His project succeeded. Clients were very happy. His colleagues liked him. He thought, well, I am doing everything right. And I think that is a very honest assumption from Daniel, to be honest. Then a management position opened in his company. Everyone assumed he would actually get it. Well, surprise, surprise, he didn't. The feedback was polite. You need to be more visible. He nodded, worked harder. A year later, another management opening. Again, someone else. Again, the conversation. We would like to see a little bit more of executive presence. Executive presence? He wrote it down, looked at it later, read it again, still wasn't sure, because Daniel was thinking, what does that even mean? The third time, he asked, what does presence look like? His manager paused long enough for Daniel to understand the answer was difficult to say. Finally, she smiled politely and said, you know, you have to speak up more. That night, he replayed every meeting he could remember. And he spoke in all of them. He gave new perspective. He was always trying to contribute to the discussion, when obviously he had something useful to add. He was not just filling the meeting with nonsense. He listened, he didn't interrupt, he didn't dominate conversations. Back home, that was considered respectful. Then he started noticing, and that's one of those things, right? You start checking your peers around the table. You start noticing your managers. You start noticing senior leadership. The people everyone described as confident often interrupted their colleagues, repeated ideas, spoke first. Sometimes they even repeated his own suggestions 5 minutes later. And somehow those ideas sounded more important. Daniel didn't become louder. He couldn't. It wouldn't have been real. Instead, he changed something a little bit smaller. When he had an idea, he shared it earlier. He stopped apologizing before asking questions, and he looked around the room instead of only at his notebook. When someone interrupted, he smiled and finished his sentence anyway, not aggressively, just completely.
Enjoying this story? Follow us so you don't miss the next one.
Months later, another promotion. This time, he got it. Everyone congratulated him. His manager smiled. I knew you would get there. He smiled back, but inside he wondered whether he had finally become a better leader or simply a better translator. One of the quietest parts of immigration is learning that competence doesn't always sound the same in every country. Sometimes you aren't changing what you know, you are changing how other people recognize it. That doesn't always mean becoming someone else. Sometimes it simply means finding a way to let your voice arrive before your ideas do. Because confidence isn't always the loudest person, and I do believe in that. Sometimes it's the person who finally decides not to make themselves smaller. I'm Vinny, and this is Between Passports. This story was shared by Daniel, obviously not his real name. Thank you very much for trusting me with your story, Daniel. I know how things can be difficult as an immigrant. So, thank you very much for sharing your story and trusting me to tell it. If you have an immigrant story that you think changed the world or yourself, it would be an honor for me to tell it. You can find Between Passports on YouTube and all major podcast platforms. We have so many episodes already in archive. Between Passports, where we ask the question nobody wants to answer out loud. Do I hear an accent?
We are Between Passports. Glad you're here. Share your story at betweenpassports.com.